one more thing about your father that I wanted to ask you earlier, and I interviewed Bill Alfonso probably last year now, and he told me a story about, I think you were in the locker room, your dad was obviously in the locker room, and Buck Robley was in the locker room. And I believe Buck Robley was shouting his mouth off about something, and your dad invited him to the back to discuss it in a room where there was a safe, I think. This is in Florida. Do you remember anything about that?
Well, I wasn't there. It was my little brother, Kendall. And I guess Buck had said something about my dad in front of my brother, and it just pissed him off. I never saw Buck, or I was never really around Buck. But, from what I heard, that's just his character. It's the way he
is. With your dad as well, there's a couple of famous stories where Ole Anderson, I don't know what Ole Anderson would do, but he'd end up on the floor after an argument with your dad. Were you ever around for any of those?
Yeah. When I was in 81, when I was Blackjack Mulligan Jr., I was tagging with my dad. We were tagging against the Andersons, Ole and Gene, and almost every night it was a fight with my old man and Ole in the ring. And he would end up punching him out. Ole would have a bloody nose. We'd go back to the back and go home. My old man just didn't like Ole, and Ole didn't like him.
Fair enough then. Was it like 100 wins for your dad and 0 for Ole, or did Ole ever did he ever win a fight with him?
I don't think Ole ever got him. Yeah. Pretty snug.
Good for him. One more thing. I put some questions out to some of the followers of my YouTube channel, and somebody mentioned how much trouble did you get into for borrowing your dad's RV?
I had 2 black eyes and a broken nose.
Oh my God.
I'll leave it at that. That was a big backhand.
How old? I don't know the story about this. So how old were you, and how long did you borrow it for?
I was 16, and the RV belonged to Jimmy Crockett, the Crockett's who owned the promotion. And I was supposed to drive my mom and Flair's wife and my family and his family down to St. Petersburg from Charlotte. So I just wanted to drive the thing and get used to it. So I was driving around town, and I went up to my girlfriend's house. I parked out in front of her house. I'm sitting on her front porch, and her dad comes out and says, "Your mom just called. Knew something was up." So I went home, and I saw my dad's car at home, so I parked in front of Flair's house. Flair's house was right next door to us. I was in there just waiting, wondering what to do, and there was a knock on the door. I opened the door. It was my old man. He just looked at me. He said, "Come on."
Oh no!
And I knew it was coming. It was one of those that if I ducked it, it would just been worse. He just backhanded me, splattered my face.
Oh dear!
So the next day, I got up and I drove everybody to St. Pete.
One of those things where you never did it again. I'm presuming.
No.